I was lying on a gurney outside the operating room when my phone buzzed. My daughter Ashley had sent me a text. "Mom, is the life insurance policy up to date? We really need to know the payout amount for planning purposes." I was about to go into surgery to remove a tumor from my lung. The doctor had just finished explaining the risks. There was a 15% chance I wouldn't wake up. I hadn't even signed the DNR paperwork yet, and my daughter wanted to know how much money she'd get when I died. That's when I knew. Let me back up. My name is Barbara Henderson, and I'm 68 years old. I raised Ashley by myself after my husband Michael died in a construction accident when she was only 7. I worked 2 jobs for years, receptionist during the day, cleaning offices at night to make sure she had everything she needed. Dance lessons, piano, soccer, cheerleading. I paid for her entire college education at Oregon State, $86,000. I paid for her wedding to Ryan, $32,000. I gave them $40,000 for the down payment on their first house. I never remarried. I never took a vacation. I wore the same winter coat for 12 years. I drove a 1998 Honda Civic with a broken air conditioner because I was saving for Ashley's future. And now, lying on this gurney, I realized she'd been counting down the days until I died. The night before my surgery, I'd had dinner with Ashley and Ryan at their house in Beaverton. It was supposed to be a comforting family meal before my operation. Instead, I overheard a conversation I was never meant to hear. I'd gotten up to use the bathroom, and as I walked past Ryan's home office, I heard his voice through the door. "Once she's gone, we can list the house immediately," Ryan was saying. "My buddy Eric is a realtor. He says her place will go for at least $750, maybe $800. It's a seller's market." "God, that would be perfect timing," Ashley replied. "We could finally get that place in Lake Oswego. The one with the view, and the life insurance, $500,000. Plus, she's got about 90 grand in savings, and the retirement account is around 120. My hand was on the doorknob. I was shaking. "So we're looking at over $1 million, total," Ryan said, "assuming the surgery goes badly." "Ryan, don't say it like that. I'm just being realistic, babe. She's 68 with lung cancer. The odds aren't great." "I know, but..." Ashley's voice dropped. "I just hope it happens fast, you know? I don't want her suffering for months. And honestly, I don't want to deal with being a caretaker. My mom can be so demanding." I stood frozen in that hallway. My own daughter. The child I'd sacrificed everything for. "When do you want to tell her about Hawaii?" Ryan asked. "After the surgery. We'll say it's a much-needed break from the stress. We deserve it." I walked back to the dining room on autopilot, finished my decaf coffee, and went home. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I checked my bank accounts online. Ashley had access to my checking account. I'd added her 3 years ago for emergencies, in case I was ever hospitalized and couldn't pay my bills. She was supposed to only use it if absolutely necessary. $43,000 had been withdrawn 2 days earlier. I logged into Facebook on my phone. There was Ashley's latest post from that morning. "Counting down the hours until our dream vacation. Maui, here we come. Number blessed, number much needed." They'd booked a 10-day trip to Hawaii, using my money, while I was having cancer surgery. I called my lawyer. Jane Morrison had been my friend since high school. She'd handled Michael's estate when he died, and she'd helped me write my will 15 years ago. That will left everything to Ashley. "Jane, it's Barbara. I need you to..." "Barbara, what's wrong? Are you okay?" "I'm changing my will. All of it. And I need a notary." "Slow down. What happened?" I told her everything. The conversation I'd overheard. The stolen money. The Hawaii trip. The text message about life insurance. Jane was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, "I'll be there in an hour." She arrived with a mobile notary at 10 a.m. I had 2 hours before surgery. We worked fast. I dictated my new will while lying in that hospital bed, wearing that humiliating gown, with an IV in my arm. My house, the house Michael and I bought for $78,000 in 1982, now worth $760,000, would go to the Willamette Valley Hospice Foundation. They would convert it into a care facility. My life insurance would be split 3 ways. $100,000 to the American Cancer Society, $100,000 to an education trust for Ashley's children, my grandchildren, Emma and Noah, which Ashley could not touch until they turned 25. The remaining $300,000 to the Oregon Humane Society, where I'd volunteered every Saturday for the past 11 years. My savings and retirement accounts, $217,000 combined, would go to St. Vincent de Paul Society to help low-income families. Ashley's inheritance would be $1 and a letter. Are you sure about this? Jane asked. You can always change it again after surgery if you. I'm sure. Make it official. I signed the papers at 11:47 a.m. The notary witnessed it. Jane made copies and put the original in her briefcase. I'll file this today, she said, squeezing my hand. Good luck in there, Barb. I'll be praying for you. The surgery took 6 hours. They removed the tumor and part of my left lung. When I woke up in recovery, I couldn't speak because of the breathing tube. But I could see Ashley standing next to my bed. She was wearing a sundress and had a tan. She'd come straight from the airport. Mom, oh my God, I was so worried, she said, touching my arm. The surgery took so long, but the doctor says you're going to be okay. It's a miracle. I couldn't tell if she was happy about the miracle or disappointed. Over the next 3 weeks, Ashley visited me every day during my recovery. She brought flowers. She fluffed my pillows. She helped me walk the hallways. She asked the nurses questions about my medications, and every single visit, she managed to mention my paperwork. Mom, have you thought about updating your will? You know, now that you're getting better, we should really go over your accounts together. Make sure everything's organized. Do you have a living trust? Ryan says they're really important for estate planning. I played along. Weak, grateful, trusting. Oh, honey, I'm too tired to think about that right now, I'd say. Maybe when I'm feeling better. Of course, Mom. No rush. I just want to make sure you're taken care of. 4 weeks after surgery, I was home and recovering well. The tumor had been benign, not cancer after all, just a large, problematic growth. The doctors said I could expect a full recovery. Ashley's visits became less frequent after that news. I decided it was time. I called Ashley and asked her to come over for Sunday dinner. Bring Ryan and the kids, I said. I want to talk to everyone about something important. She arrived at 5 p.m. with Ryan, Emma, and Noah. Emma was 14. Noah was 11. Beautiful children. I'd given each of them $1,000 for their birthdays every year since they were born. We had pot roast, Ashley's favorite. I'd spent all afternoon cooking, for old time's sake. After dinner, I brought out a manila envelope. I want to talk about my will, I said. I've been thinking a lot about it since the surgery. Ashley and Ryan exchanged a glance. She straightened in her chair. Mom, you don't have to. I want to. I'm 68 years old, and I just had major surgery. It's time to get my affairs in order. I pulled out papers from the envelope. I've made some changes. I want you to see them. I handed Ashley a copy of the new will. I watched her face as she read it. Watched the color drain from her cheeks. Watched her eyes get wider and wider. What is this? She whispered. Ryan grabbed the papers from her hand. This can't be real. You're leaving the house to a hospice charity, the life insurance to the Humane Society, and to Emma and Noah's education fund, I said calmly. $100,000. They'll get it when they're 25. Mom, this is insane. Ashley's voice was rising. I'm your daughter, your only child. You are. That's why you're getting $1. $1? $1? She was standing now, shaking the papers. After everything I've done for you? After I took care of you during your recovery? After you stole $43,000 from my checking account? Silence. Ryan's face went red. Ashley's mouth opened and closed. We were going to pay you back. Ashley stammered. From the life insurance money? The money you asked about before I went into surgery? I was just being practical, making sure your affairs were in order. I pulled out my phone. Would you like to hear something? I pressed play. Ryan's voice filled the room. Once she's gone, we can list the house immediately. My buddy Eric is a realtor. He says her place will go for at least $750, maybe $800. Ashley's voice. God, that would be perfect timing. We could finally get that place in Lake Oswego. Ryan. So we're looking at over $1 million, total. Assuming the surgery goes badly. Ashley. I just hope it happens fast, you know? I don't want her suffering for months. I stopped the recording. Emma had tears running down her face. Noah looked confused and scared. You were at our house? Ryan's voice was strangled. You recorded us? I was in your bathroom. You were in the office next door. I didn't mean to hear it, but I'm very glad I did. That's illegal, Ashley shrieked. That's invasion of privacy. You can't use that. Actually, I said, Oregon is a one-party consent state for recordings. And since I was one of the parties present in your home, it's perfectly legal. Jane checked. Ashley's eyes were wild. Who's Jane? My lawyer. The one who helped me change my will. The one who filed it with the county. This isn't over. Ryan stood up, pulling Ashley toward the door. We'll contest this. We'll get our own lawyers. Feel free. Jane says it's airtight. I was of sound mind. Had proper witnesses. Followed all legal procedures. Good luck. Mom, please. Ashley was crying now. I made a mistake. We made mistakes. But you can't do this. What about Emma and Noah? What about our future? Emma and Noah will get their education paid for. $100,000 they can use for college, or starting a business, or buying a house. Whatever they want, when they're mature enough to handle it responsibly. But what about me? I looked at my daughter, really looked at her. Saw the woman who'd counted my money while I was lying on a gurney. Who'd gone to Hawaii while I was in surgery. Who'd visited me in the hospital only to ask about paperwork. You get the same thing you gave me, I said quietly. Nothing. They left. Ashley was sobbing. Ryan was furious. Emma looked back at me from the doorway, with something like understanding in her eyes. I closed the door and sat in the silence of my house. The next morning, Ashley called at 6 a.m. Mom, I'm so sorry. We were wrong. We were terrible. Please, can we talk about this? Why? Do you need more vacation money? That's not fair. I've been under so much stress. The kids, Ryan's job, the mortgage. I had cancer, Ashley. Stress? She hung up. She called again that afternoon. And the next day. And the day after that. A week later, Ryan called. Barbara, this is Ryan. I want you to know I'm filing for divorce. Okay, Ashley. She's not who I thought she was. When there was money, she was fine. Now that there's nothing. He paused. I just thought you should know. Emma and Noah are pretty upset about everything. Tell them their grandmother loves them. And tell them to come visit me anytime, alone. 2 weeks after that, Ashley lost the house she'd been so desperate to buy in Lake Oswego. Without my inheritance as collateral, the bank wouldn't approve the loan. Word spread in our small community. Portland might be a big city, but Beaverton is still a small town at heart. People talk. Ashley's friends stopped calling. The book club stopped inviting her. At the grocery store, people whispered, "Did you hear what she did to her poor mother? Stealing money while her mom had surgery. Going to Hawaii. Can you imagine?" 3 months after I changed my will, Emma knocked on my door. "Hi, Grandma. Can I come in?" We sat in my kitchen. I made her hot chocolate the way I used to when she was little. "Mom's a mess," Emma said quietly. "She cries all the time. Dad moved out. We might lose our house. I'm sorry you're going through this, sweetheart." "No, Grandma. You don't understand. I'm not here to make you feel bad. I'm here to say, I get it. I heard the recording. I know what she did." Emma was 14. Too young to understand all of it, but old enough to recognize betrayal. "Your mom made choices," I said. "Those choices have consequences. She keeps saying it was a mistake, that she panicked, that she's sorry. Do you believe her?" Emma thought about it. "I don't know. Maybe. But I also think she's only sorry because she got caught." Smart girl. Grandma, can I ask you something? Anything. The money you put aside for me and Noah. For college. Yes? Thank you. Mom and Dad were supposed to be saving for our college, but I looked at the account last month. There's only $3,000 in it. They spent it all on other stuff. I closed my eyes. Of course they did. You'll have enough for college, I told her. I made sure of it. I know. And I just wanted to say, you didn't have to do that. After what Mom did. But thank you. She hugged me. She smelled like vanilla and teenage girl body spray. You're a good person, Emma. Don't let what happened between your mom and me change that. 6 months passed. I finished my recovery. The doctor said I was cancer-free. Well, technically, I'd never had cancer to begin with. I started volunteering at the animal shelter again. I had lunch with Jane every Wednesday. I took a watercolor painting class at the community center. I was happy. Ashley called one more time. Mom, I need help. Ryan's divorce is final. I'm going to lose the house. I'm working 2 jobs, but it's not enough. I can barely afford groceries. I'm sorry to hear that. Please. I'm begging you. I know I don't deserve it, but please. Just enough to catch up on the mortgage. How much? $8,000. $8,000. That's how much she thought our relationship was worth now. No. Mom, you stole $43,000 from me for a vacation while I was having surgery. You asked about my life insurance while I was being wheeled into the operating room. You planned my funeral before I was dead. $8,000 isn't going to fix that. I know I was awful. But I've lost everything. Isn't that enough punishment? I haven't punished you, Ashley. Life did. Consequences did. Karma did. Please, I'm your daughter. Yes. And I was your mother. The mother who gave you everything. Who sacrificed everything. And you couldn't even be bothered to stay in town during my surgery. I hung up. I didn't change the will. Not then. Not after a year. Not after 2 years. The Willamette Valley Hospice Foundation broke ground on a new care facility 18 months after I changed my will. They named it Henderson House. After Michael and me, our names are on a bronze plaque by the front door. I visit sometimes. I see families there, saying goodbye to their loved ones, holding hands, crying, loving each other even in the hardest moments. That's what family is supposed to be. Emma turned 16. She came over for her birthday, and I took her to lunch. Mom's doing better, she told me. She got a promotion at work. She's seeing a therapist. That's good. She talks about you sometimes. She says she wishes she could go back and do everything differently. We all do, sweetheart. Would you ever forgive her? I thought about that. Really thought about it. I don't know, I said honestly. Maybe someday. But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. And it doesn't mean giving her what she threw away. The money? No. The trust. Emma nodded. She understood. Grandma, can I tell you something? Of course. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad the surgery worked. I'm glad you didn't, die? Yeah. Me too, baby. Me too. I'm 70 years old now. Ashley and I haven't spoken in 2 years. She doesn't call anymore. She sent a card last Christmas with no return address. Just a card that said, I'm sorry in her handwriting. I didn't respond. Emma comes to visit every month. Noah comes too, sometimes. They're good kids. They're going to be okay. I volunteer at the animal shelter 4 days a week now. I take painting classes. I have friends. I have my health. I have my peace. I have my dignity. Sometimes people ask me if I regret it, cutting off my only daughter, leaving her nothing. I tell them the truth. I regret that it was necessary. I regret that the daughter I raised became someone who could steal from her dying mother. Someone who could go to Hawaii while I was in surgery. Someone who saw me as a bank account instead of a human being. But I don't regret protecting myself. I don't regret standing up for my worth. And I don't regret teaching her the hardest lesson I've ever had to teach. That love without respect is worthless. That family without loyalty is just biology. That you can't inherit what you didn't honor. Last week, Emma called me. Grandma, Mom asked me to give you a message. What is it? She wanted me to tell you. She understands now. what she did, why you did what you did. And she's not asking for forgiveness. She just wanted you to know that she finally gets it. Okay, she also said. She's proud of you for standing up for yourself. She wishes she'd learned that lesson a different way, but she's glad you taught it to her. I didn't know what to say. Grandma? Are you crying? Maybe a little. Are you going to call her? I don't know, Emma. Not yet. Maybe not ever. Some things you can't come back from. I understand, but here's what I didn't tell Emma. I've started thinking about it. Not changing the will that's staying as it is. But maybe, eventually, having coffee with Ashley, hearing her out, seeing if the daughter who learned the hard way is someone I could have in my life again. Not as a beneficiary, not as an heir, just as a daughter who finally understands what her mother was worth. Maybe. Someday. But not today. Today, I'm going to the animal shelter. There's a senior dog named Charlie who needs a foster home, and I'm thinking about taking him in. He's 13 years old. Nobody wants him because he's old and he has arthritis and he's not cute anymore. But I know what it's like to be old and unwanted. To be valued only for what you can give, not for who you are. So Charlie's coming home with me, and we're going to keep each other company. Two survivors. Two souls who learned the hard way that sometimes the family you choose is better than the family you're born with. Sometimes the best inheritance you can leave isn't money. It's a lesson. And mine cost Ashley everything. But it saved me.